Hey everyone, so the new Transform Plus Game Pass seem to have caused quite the divide between the community, where some people are saying it is worth it and other people are saying it is just too expensive. So in today's video I will be talking about why the new Transform Plus Game Pass is 600 Robux and whether that is a good price or not. Now keep in mind that this video is my opinion and my personal opinion only, and if your opinion differs from mine, that is completely fine. There is no need to attack anyone. I respect your opinion, so please respect mine. So the first point I want to touch on is this Game Pass is not for everyone. There are some Game Passes I would generally consider okay for everyone. For example, multiple floors. I think everyone can do it multiple floors in Bloxburg, and it really adds value for everyone. Same thing with Excellent Employee. Now this Game Pass is more so focused on people who build a lot and are focused on building more detailed builds, or maybe doing something special with their builds like custom doors or custom roofs or basically anything custom that you can think of. It's more so for those people. And I think if you're a mobile player or a PC player, well, but mostly mobile players tend to choose to roleplay, I noticed. So this is not an attack to mobile players at all. I feel like if you just build like your houses in 2 hours, 3 hours, you're happy with how it turned out, you don't feel like you need to add anything, then I also don't feel like this Game Pass is for you. And then I can see why you think that this Game Pass is expensive, why this Game Pass is not worth 600 Robux. But if you are a builder and you like to do custom stuff, you have for sure in the past have gotten frustrations with basic shapes not going in the exact position that you want them to go. Same thing with structurals. Doing custom windows, etc. can be a little hard if you do not have Transform Plus, and that is where this Game Pass comes in. It helps you really perfect your builds and make them more detailed in a way. It allows for way more stuff to be built without the fear of, will I be able to create this without spending 20 hours on a single dormer, for example. Moving on to point number 2, what if you don't have advanced placing? So the advanced placing Game Pass is separate from Transform Plus. A lot of people are comparing them to each other. I wouldn't say they are the same. Advanced placing allows you to place objects inside each other, so that means you can place, for example, plants inside of each other, or finally get rid of the limitation that you have when building a kitchen, that the last counter will not fit into the last part of your wall. Whereas Transform Plus is a way more OP tool in my opinion, because it lets you freely move basic shapes and structurals. I can see more come in the future, but I will come back to that later in the video. But in my opinion, Transform Plus is way more OP than advanced placing, because advanced placing just removes a limit that we have right now, while Transform Plus actually adds to the gameplay in a way. I know advanced placing adds to the gameplay as well, but in a different way. It's something that was limited that is unlocked with advanced placing basically, but with Transform Plus we get a whole new tool, we get new stuff to do as well. But if you don't have advanced placing, then I would hold off from buying Transform Plus. I feel like if you do not have advanced placing and you don't feel a need to use advanced placing in your build, then you probably also won't need the Transform Plus Game Pass. I know why they get paired. I'd still see them personally as something completely different, but they do go hand in hand, as in if you do not have advanced placing, the Transform Plus Game Pass will not have as much use to you as if you had advanced placing. I'm saying advanced placing so many times right now, but I feel like you would still be a little bit too limited to make full use of the new Game Pass in a way, whereas if you have advanced placing, you can freely move everything, freely make everything intersect with each other. So if you do not have advanced placing and you're looking into buying Transform Plus, in my opinion, I would buy advanced placing first. I think that really lets you do a lot already, and Transform Plus is just on another level of detail. And that brings up the next question that a lot of people have with the Transform Plus pass is, should it be bundled with advanced placing? And on one hand, I completely get that question. On the other hand, the new Transform Plus Game Pass is so advanced and so OP that you can do anything right now that you can basically do in Studio. You can move blocks around, which is a lot of fun, and they anchor, so that's good as well. Whereas advanced placing, as I said, it only lets you put stuff inside of each other, so you can't really freely move anything around. Well, you can freely move anything around, but if you're a detailed builder, you know what I mean, with structurals and basic shapes not moving to where you want them to go, or just jumping just a little bit so that they won't go into the spot you wanted them to go originally. Basically, I see advanced placing more for decorating, whereas Transform Plus, I see it more for actually actually building. And that's where I make the distinction. And I also feel like more people would have enough with advanced placing, and that is why it's 200 Robux, which in my opinion is a little too cheap. Whereas with Transform Plus, again, more for detailed builds, more for actual building instead of decorating, so I can see why that is more expensive than advanced placing as well. And I wouldn't bundle it because I wouldn't want advanced placing to be bundled with Transform Plus and be sold for 800 Robux. Well, I do think some people only need advanced placing. Maybe a lot of people only need advanced placing, depending on how far you want to go with your builds, basically. And that brings me to my next point, and that is 600 Robux a lot for a Game Pass like this? Now, before I continue with that, I do want to say that yes, I know some of you won't get Robux from your parents and it's really hard to get the money for it, but that shouldn't hold a game back from adding Game Passes that are expensive, especially since a lot of people are willing to pay a lot for a Game Pass like this, and I don't feel like it's for everyone. As I said, we need to keep in mind that there's a very wide range of players here, and because you can't afford it doesn't mean it shouldn't exist. That applies to everything, whether you use Spotify free or Spotify premium, whether you buy an album or you just stream it. It goes a long way, and you can't just not release something or give it away for free every single time because some people cannot afford it. And while that is really sad, and I get that, I also get why it is sold separately as a Game Pass. And so, to come back to the question, is 600 Robux a lot for a Game Pass like this? In my opinion, no. In my opinion, this tool is so OP and I can see a lot more come to it in the future, meaning that in my opinion, it should actually be like 1,000 Robux or maybe 1,300 Robux. And I know a lot of you are gonna be mad at my opinion about this, but this is like giving away admin, basically, and letting people free build on a Roblox game. And if you look at other Roblox games selling admin commands, or just like selling the command where you can do e-fly, or where you can turn the server into a disco, or have a sword that kills people in servers, they usually ask like 2,000 Robux for stuff like that. And I feel like this tool just adds so much to the game, especially for builders, that I don't feel like 600 Robux is a lot. It comes down to $6. I play The Sims a lot, and I know I can't really compare The Sims to Bloxburg, but if The Sims releases a pack with 10 clothes and sells it for $5, then I do think 600 Robux or $6 for this Game Pass is not a lot, and it's actually pretty cheap. And then we need to talk about viral TikToks. Now, I'm not that active on TikTok, but I do get a lot of people send me videos, and there's a lot of viral videos on TikTok right now talking about like, oh, this Game Pass is 600 Robux and all you can do is move cubes and move structurals around. And that triggers me a little bit because you can basically put anything on top of a basic shape, use a transform tool. So if you want to put a plant upside down, you just put it on the tiniest basic shape and you can turn that plant upside down. Basically counts for anything that has to do with decorations, even decals that you can just freely move around. So if you did some research, you would know that it's not only basic shapes and structurals. In its core, yes it is, but you can put stuff on those shapes and structurals that will move along with the transform tool. So basically you can do a lot more, and I am going to compare it to advanced placing now, but at the start of advanced placing, and the price hasn't gone up since, it was 200 Robux when it came out as well, all it really gave us was the ability to move our plants in our garden closer to each other, or move the few decoration items that we had back then closer to each other, because there was a big hitbox and that Game Pass fixed that. And so I feel like we're just only getting started with this Game Pass. I definitely feel like a lot more is to come, to the point where we will be able to just freely move anything with that Game Pass, and that is what makes it really OP in my opinion. You can already do a lot with it, feel like a lot more is gonna come for it as well. Same thing that happened with advanced placing, where we now can resize stuff, we can resize structurals and basic shapes, and we didn't have basic shapes when advanced placing first came out, so they go hand in hand together. And yeah, it's just some TikToks really do not do any research, they just move 2 blocks and then they make a TikTok and they're like, oh yeah, we can only do that. And yeah, that's a little frustrating because you can do so much more, and if you actually tested it before making a video about it, you would know that you can do so much more with that Game Pass. So sometimes it's good to to try something before making a video about it. And that brings me to my final verdict. Now, this is pretty hard, but some points mentioned in the video. As I said, I do think 600 Robux is definitely worth it, and I'm sorry for the people that can't afford it. That is pretty sad. That will always happen no matter what subscription or game you buy. It will always be expensive, and some people just don't have the means to actually buy that. On the other hand, if you are, and I tweeted about this, if you are tweeting that the Game Pass is too expensive and you tweet it from your iPhone 14 Pro Max or your iPad Pro, that makes me question the validity of your tweet. All the Game Passes combined make Bloxburg only $25, and for a game like that, it is definitely worth it. The Sims and all of its packs are over $1,000 right now, so I know I can't compare, but like just to give a little comparison there. But I do want to say, I'm very strong about this, that don't buy this Game Pass if you do not have advanced placing, or if you do not feel even the need to get advanced placing, because this pass is on another level than advanced placing. I think advanced placing is more so for everyone and aimed towards everyone, because it lets you do quite a bit of stuff and move stuff around, while the Transform Plus tool is really aimed at detail builders and builders that want to experiment with a lot of stuff. So if you don't have advanced placing, I would not suggest buying the new Game Pass. If you do, I would recommend it only if you ever felt the need to move stuff around like you can with a Transform Plus tool. So anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. Let me know your opinion in the comments below. Stay friendly, respect other people's opinion, because everyone has another opinion and we do not attack people for that. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button and please subscribe.